The button is pushed. We are live, and we have a special guest today, and his name is All Business Willie. He's got jeans on at 8 a.m. He's in state tournament coverage mode. He's ready to go. This is not Wild Fork, drunk order Willie. This is not, watching Food Channel Willie. This is All Business Willie.
I don't know about that. Buzzard Billy's. This is Buzzard Billy's, Willie. How's the audio, by the way?
It was good until you started touching it.
The heaviest of buds were flowing last night at Buzzard Billy's.
And you got a lot of friends there. We were doing the airport FaceTime, and you said you were just rattling off who was there. Obviously, friend of the show, Felters. Leading the pack, but yeah, Willie
I hung out most of the time I was talking to Dawson Youngblood's dad. The guy's bellied up with him at the bar for a couple hours. So much so that then I FaceTimed Tom Brands, who did not answer, and then I FaceTimed Ryan Morningstar, who did answer. And he was like, "Oh my God!" He was like, "I was wondering what the hell you were FaceTiming me for."
What time did you FaceTime Brands?
I don't know.
But hey, you're here, and it's All Business Willie.
It wasn't late. It wasn't. I'm a goof, but I wouldn't, even in my drunkest stupor, I would not FaceTime Tom Brands too late. It was like 9 o'clock.
So, Willie, we have a big weekend. It's kind of a big weekend. There's Iowa, Oklahoma State. And then there's everything else. There's not. It's a lot of final matchups, final duels. It's not the most competitive weekend. Obviously, Iowa Oklahoma State is the big one, which we will preview in detail. Two quick snippets before we get to that. Number one, because I know you want to talk officiating a little bit, because apparently there's a war ensuing, and it's not the war with Iran, it is the war with the officials. So we'll get into that in 1 minute. Before that, we'll touch on it real quick. USADA finally came out and officially said Aaron Brooks is suspended for 2 years. They pushed for a 4-year suspension. The independent arbitrators did their research, did everything they do, and they said it wasn't intentional. It was stupid, but it wasn't intentional. He's suspended for 2 years, so he'll be out until June of 2027. So, no World Team Trials this year, no World Team Trials next year. He will be back for the 2028 Olympics. Starting June 2027, he can get back to competition. So that full season leading up to Olympic trials, he will be a go.
Yeah, I mean, it's about what I expected.
Yeah.
I guess I don't know. I don't know the full details. I don't know what they found and didn't find. So I don't know. I mean, things range from, oh my God, I can't believe they're going to let him back in time to go to the Olympics, to, man, if they found out that it was a true mistake, it sucks that he has to miss 2 years, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. He accepted responsibility. He knows it was dumb. He knows he should have been more aware about it. So, yeah, he'll be back June 2027. There is no ban on training, per my understanding, so he can still train and kind of train in the shadows until his time to officially return. He's still in the state college, so... that's the Aaron Brooks update, and then Willie, fill us in with what's going on with the takedown stuff.
I wonder if that changes anything for him as far as RAF, because I don't know. I don't know if he can participate in RAF or he wants to risk that. I don't know. Could be a different option for him, right? At least get matches.
Would love to see him on some cards.
All right, so the update with the officiating, and I mean, apparently there's an serious internal conflict between one faction of referees and another faction of referees, and uh, and it's festering because uh, it's a problem, and it's festering because people are putting out clips and pushing into it, and really being critical of it. And it goes like this: there is one side of referees that they want almost no reaction time. They want if it's a flash takedown, or if there's at any point it meets the certain criteria of a takedown, they want it called three. There's another faction that says no, we should not be awarding three until there's absolute control, until the wrestler is controlled. And so that's why I think we see some wildly different interpretations of what a takedown is. And honestly, I have railed against this idea for a while, but railed against the idea of very much too long of reaction time. However, I would actually settle for at least some degree of clarity and uniformness. Just let us know what it is and what it's not. And it, when I so I had a source tell me that this is going on. Like, there's this group here that's fighting with this group here, and they don't really see eye to eye. And it takes me back to a year or two ago, where I had a conversation with uh, he's a rules interpreter. He was an official for years and years and years, and now he's something. He has some sort of role in it. And he said to me, have total control, complete the takedown, have total control. And I said, that's really easy for you to say, but if I'm working to get a takedown, and I have the criteria for it, I think it should be awarded. And when this got brought up to me, that there's this conflict between the two groups, it took me back to that conversation. And there is something to be said for just leave no doubt. Just leave no doubt. The takedown is totally completed, and you're totally in control. Um, my I don't know. I feel like I switched a little bit, because I always, even up till lately, I've been raving about um, if you have the criteria, if you have, like, let's say, I keep using this example, but let's say the Nasir Brock Hardy match. Okay, Nasir is on his belly. He has one leg, and he touches the other leg. He touches the other ankle. Is that really control? Was he controlling Brock Hardy? All right, let's look at one I was bitching about recently. Lenny Pinto and Holden Garcia. On one hand, what our eyes have told us was a takedown for 1,000 years applies in that situation. Lenny's all the way behind him. He's covering hips. But there was a fluidness to it that you could interpret like, did he ever totally control the guy? And dude, I don't know. You tell me. Am I like am I doing the Coach Klein thing from the the water boy and totally overthinking this.
My thing with the takedowns is the lack of consistency. That's the big one that gets me. It's like there's got to be some consistency on what's called. If we can all just agree specifically on what's called, and it makes sense that there's this giant divide on a disagreement, and when you have things left up for interpretation, you're going to have that natural divide. So it makes sense. I don't think you're wrong here. I think the first step is getting consistency in how it's called, and then I think from there, if you want,
Well, when you find out like behind the scenes that there's an internal divide, it really explains why there's so much inconsistency.
right. Larry Steele in the chat. Justin, have you tried Traeger's signature blend pellets yet? Yeah, I use them all the time. They're fantastic.
What else would you use?
Apple, hickory. They have a pro blend that's good. Not a wrestler in the chat said, I like Terrapelli's idea to expand the definition of control for certain positions where the defensive wrestler is just hanging on by a thread.
Yeah, I don't know. Are you going to write that into the rule book? Hey, give a takedown when the wrestler is just hanging on by a thread.
I know. Indiana Matt in the chat. Why is Willie afraid to come to the Indiana State Finals?
I'm not afraid. I might do it sometime.
Maybe Nick Lee can take you around.
Indiana is one I would really like to get to. I've never been to Indiana. I've never been to Cali, which
we got to get you one of those maps. You know those maps that people have when they travel and they put a pin in the different locations? We got to get a U.S. map and put a pin in each state championship.
I had a guy on Twitter one time go, I can't believe you've never been to the New Mexico State tournament. Like, what? What? So, I mean, the truth is, I've been to, almost every major event on the planet, and but when it comes time, but I have not been to a lot of state championships. One of the biggest reasons being they're all at the same time.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd like to get to a lot. I definitely want to get to Cali, Indiana. What else? I'd like to get to Georgia one time. Like, I know Georgia. Georgia's sort of stupid. Like, I kind of don't want to go to Georgia because there's six or seven classes.
How many?
Six, seven. Like, legit. Like, I'm not even making that up. There's like.
So it's worse than Nebraska?
I think there's 6 classes. Nebraska only has
4.
3?
4.
4? So I say only has 4, which I don't know. It's way too many. But then when in the conjunction with the population of Nebraska, it's way too many. Georgia should not have 6 classes, but in comparison to Nebraska, I mean, nobody should have 6 classes. But at least they do have a big population, a much bigger population. I don't know. Georgia's nonsense with having 6 classes, but
Larry Steele says, Willie, if you don't come to my 7-year-old's Maryland State Youth Final on March 8th, you're scared.
I know, right?
All right, so that's some officiating talk. Should we dive into the big duel of the weekend? Should we dive into?
Let's do it. That's the big one for the show, right?
That's the big one. It's number 3 Oklahoma State versus number 5 Iowa, 6 p.m. Eastern on Sunday on ESPN, and this is a rematch of the National Duels semifinal back in November. It was 18-16 Iowa, pretty soundly. If you recall, Iowa forfeited at heavyweight, so they gave up 6 there to end the duel, and they still won 18-16. This time around, Oklahoma State almost 10-point favorites for the duel.
Dude, how crazy is that they were up by 8. They were up by 8 going into the last match, so much so that they could just forfeit. And 2 months later, 3 months later, it's it's like a 15 to 18 point flip in the Vegas lines, the betting odds.
It's crazy. And, there's
And
no
the only really thing that changed was Jax,
Jax, also
Angelo.
Angelo not being there, and no Dean. No Dean's a big one.
That is a big one.
That was a big one.
That is a big one. Yeah. So I guess in wrestling, one flip of a match is 6 points.
Yeah.
So you get to 2 and 3.
But even
Yeah,
that, that's a potential. When you're talking about points in the duel, Dean is a potential 8-point switch right there. You go from Dean beating Merrill and getting 3 points for the team to potentially, if there can be a major or bonus, a major attack, and you get 4 or 5, you're talking a 7-8 point potentially.
Do we know? Catch me up to speed here. Do we know? Maybe the chat. Might be a question for the chat. Does Luddington have any dates left?
No, none left. Last weekend was his 5th date. He used it up Friday and Sunday. So he had 6 dates going into last weekend. 2 were unattached. Friday, Sunday was his official 1 weekend of the year where he can wrestle 2 duels and it counts as 1 date. So Harvey Luddington is officially at 5 official dates, 7 total dates. No Harvey this weekend.
I thought that Harvey looked much better. Mm-hmm. I thought he moved. I saw one performance out of him where I'm like, he doesn't look like he's moving right. He doesn't look like maybe he's comfortable. Maybe he's nervous. I don't know. And then the next match I watched, I was like, okay, he's like wrestling with confidence and he's moving fluidly. And so I don't know. I think it would be good if they could use him for this, but obviously they can't.
Now,
so
there is.
The next question is,
well, what's your next question? Because maybe it ties into what I was about to say.
I mean, if Angelo would go, then they could bump Gabe to 97 or something like that. But it doesn't sound like Angelo's going to go anyway.
So that's where I was going, is that probables came out. Angelo's not in probables. Neither is Nasir Bailey. But could that be gamesmanship? Oklahoma State's going to have a little gamesmanship no matter what at 33. They're not going to come out and tell us if it's Jax or Ramirez. I'm sure both Jax and Ramirez are going this weekend, and whoever goes, their red shirt is officially pulled. I think everybody and their mother at this point assumes it's Jax Forrest. I do not see a world where Ronnie Ramirez burns his red shirt this weekend and wrestles in the postseason.
No, Jax is going to go. I mean, I'm not saying that with any inside information. I'm like, nobody from Oklahoma State's camp or Jax's dad or Jack, nobody told me, yeah, we're wrestling this weekend. But so when I say Jax is going, I'm saying that out of just stop the nonsense.
Correct. I agree. So all that to say, I don't think they're gonna risk. I don't think they're gonna risk injuring Ferrari if he's not ready to go for the postseason. I don't think if he's on the fence or could really take advantage of another week or 2 off, that they're going to risk it for this duel. I don't think we see him until the postseason. I do think we see him there. I was talking to an Iowa fan last week about the fact that they were optimistic, and I agree with them, that during the Iowa-Ohio State duel, Ferrari was kind of bouncing around a little bit. But I mean bouncing, I just mean swaying and kind of it wasn't like he was really protecting his ankle that much.
Yeah, he wasn't in a walking boot. He wasn't stationary.
Right.
I noticed that too.
So I'm assuming, I'm 100% confident, 99% confident that we see Angelo in the postseason, but I don't think they're going to risk it until then.
I am too, but the weird thing is, the risk thing. I mean, I guess I get it. So, on one hand, are you telling me that he's so banged up that he's not practicing? And I'm saying this about Angelo, but I'm saying this about anybody. You're Here's what I'm trying to get at. I don't believe that you should kind of be scared to get injured in a match when you're in a sport where if you ain't training hard, wrestling hard every day, you're behind the eight ball. So if theoretically, if you're not ready to wrestle a match, you're not training very hard. And if you're not training very hard, that's not a it's not a sign for optimism for the postseason, right? Now, on the other hand, it could be, listen, we ain't risking nothing till the postseason. Which
Now, our friends WrestleStat are in the chat saying if Ferrari. By the way, there's a lot of like fake news in the chat. Hot Dog Water says I believe Ludington already burned his red shirt unless he was unattached at the Don Parker Open. He was unattached. Yeah. So, anyways, our friends at WrestleStat in the chat saying if Ferrari doesn't go, Iowa doesn't bring a qualifier to the conference tournament at 184 if Ferrari is the entrant at Big Tens.
yeah, I know. It's crazy. They don't. So 184, the Big Ten's going to be hurt there, and that's a weight where that's like loaded. 184 Big Ten's loaded, and they're going to be short in allocation. Also, WrestleStats in the chat, maybe they could help us out with this. This is a little bit of a different question. Well, a different situation. If did Keeter qualify? Does Keeter allocate? Does Keeter earn an allocation right now? And if he does not, if he wins this weekend, will he? Because he has a really limited number of matches, and the matches that he has wrestled have all been against top guys, and so his record's like five. I don't know what his record is, but he's like 500 ish, and a low match count. So I don't know if I don't know if he allocates either. So
how about this?
Iowa has a number of slots where they don't allocate.
You want to talk about the Big Ten at Big Tens? 6 of the top 8 in the country at 184 are Big Ten.
That's what I'm saying.
You've got Rocco the 1, Ferrari the 2, Mickinelli the 4, Allred the 6, Brock the 7, Fishback the 8. That's crazy.
Right. Yeah, and compound. Now you're going to pull an allocation. Now you're going to be short in allocation. Now I'm not saying that those guys don't qualify because of it, but it's going to get dicey. Like it's going to get dicey for the 7th or 8th, the 8th guy.
Yeah, 100%. So, all right, let's go through the duel. Let's go through the duel. Let's start at 125 pounds. It's a rematch of Dean Peterson versus Troy Spratley. Peterson got, I believe it was a last-second takedown in the match that they had at National Duels. Got the win. I think it was 5-4.
What was it? Say that again.
I think it was 5-4 at National Duels.
Who?
Let me double check. Dean. Dean got a takedown late over Spratley.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was 5-4. So it's interesting. Dean has the win over Troy back at National Duels, and Troy has now gone in 2 of his last 3 matches. Troy has gone without a takedown. He got that win against Poulin that was 3-1 without a takedown, and then he beat Ventresca 2-1 in overtime. So it's crazy. I mean, and Dean's looked good even in his losses. He put up 5 against Buzakis and 5 against Lilidal. So it's going to be a good rematch. What do you make of it?
I'm going Dean here.
So am I.
And it's simply because, well, I think Dean plays a little cat and mouse stuff. Like, I don't know, when you can score on Buzakis, he has the ability to score, but he doesn't always. Like we saw in the Diego Sotelo match, he almost, I don't know, He wasn't very offensive. He should be taking down Sotelo multiple times, but he didn't put himself at risk too much. He didn't open up. But I think the ability to go get one is there. And with Spratley, right now, I just see a 7-minute boxer. He doesn't look to score like ever. And I, I'm not saying in any way, shape, or form that Troy Spratley won't win this match or can't win this match, but in a weight that's always the top 15 guys are all one takedown matches. I don't know. I see Dean with a little bit more ability to score right now. So give me Dean.
Yeah, same. I lean Dean, and I think either guy can win. I mean, you have this for me is like one of those matchups that both teams always want a match like this. But heading into the postseason, these guys are 6th and 7th in the country. You're
What
right
are they?
there, 6-7. You're right there on the border of AAing. Like if you want Dean or Troy to AA, this could very likely be a quarterfinal. This could very likely be one of those matches that they have to win. To AA. So I think this is going to be a good indicator of how things are going to start looking in the postseason, like what kind of shape they're both in. So it'll be a good one.
Yeah.
All right.
Not a wrestler. Not a wrestler says Troy all day. If you watch the Virginia Tech match, Troy went forward constantly. Ventresca went backwards, and the ref allowed it. Yeah, the refs allow it. That's allowable. That Why would it change this match? That they do not call stalling. They don't call it.
I do think, too, like, if you're an Oklahoma State fan, I would 100% look for Troy to get a nice rebound win here. Having David as your coach, having that coaching staff, they're going to get on him. Like, you got to get offensive. 2 of the last 3 matches now, not a takedown. Like, it's very winnable for both guys.
If you're an Oklahoma State fan, by all means, I mean, root for your guy. Think he's going to win. But from an objective prognostication, when you're really splitting hairs, this isn't an easy one. This isn't Jack's Forest against the number 31 guy in the country. This is guys that are ranked 1 degree apart, and you're splitting hairs, and that's who I'm going with.
Yeah. All right, 133 pounds. After that, a great one here. It looks like we're going to get Drake Ayala versus Jax Forrest, the 9 versus the 6. And Drake's a returning national finalist. Jax is undefeated. And like we've already said, kind of leading into previewing this duel, we both think it's going to be Jax. At this point in the season, I do not see them burning Ronnie's red shirt. Now, the one caveat is, could we see Jax go somewhere and get matches in? But I don't think so. I don't think that's going to be the case.
No.
I think we see Jax versus Drake, and this is another tough one here to pick because what?
So this is what Jax had this year: Carter Schmidt, Joey Ruzick, Macy Odiati, Osmani Diversant, Ranieri Ortega, Gage Walker, Julian Farmer, Osmani Diversant, Aaron Seidel. This match with Drake is along with Seidel, the biggest test of his season. I mean, to this point, right?
Absolutely.
So, and it's a different feel. I mean, he felt Seidel before. He wrestled him 2 different times. Seidel is also a true freshman. Drake is a little bit different. He's never wrestled Drake before. And Drake's a senior veteran. So
It is crazy. It is crazy how fast time moves in wrestling that it feels like Drake just got to Iowa. It really does. And when you start talking now that Drake's the senior vet going against the young incoming true freshman, it's crazy. Drake is starting to look better and better. He started off the first half of the year very shaky. He was under 500 at one point, but he's looking better. Jax, I think, has a lot of momentum between beating Seidel. For Jax, I like that this duel is in Stillwater. That crowd is going to be behind him. And Jax, after what he did to Seidel, where it's like you give up 3 takedowns, you still find a way to win. I think you got to go Troy here, but a Drake win would not surprise me at all with his. Drake knows how to win
Yeah,
in February, March,
yeah, yep. I'm going to sit and watch the Iowa State tournament in a couple hours with Sam Ayala. Uh, so, but I'm going to take Jax. I'm going to take Jax. I don't really know why. I think Jax, he's a little bit more opened up offensively, and yeah. So I'm going to take Jax, but I do think that for the temperature in the room, the the country's perception of this match, I don't think is as a foregone conclusion as what they think. Like, I think that everybody's saying Jack's next topic, and I don't think it's a next topic
No,
match.
I don't think it's next topic. I think it's much
Not
closer to.
you, not
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
I'm just
yeah.
general fandom.
I think it's much closer to a coin toss than a for next topic. I mean, you can't count Drake out. Not only is he a 2-time returning national finalist, the guy is just tough as nails. And he knows how to win. He's a dog, and I think as he's coming into his own with how he's been wrestling, I like Drake here to be right there. I lean Jax, but I think Drake is looking good. Ever since that loss to Davino, he's. I know you don't like when people tech bums, but I mean he's put up 20 points a match the last 3. He's getting to his offense. I'm. It's gonna be a great match. It'll be a great match.
Uh, and if Dean goes out and wins, I don't know. If Dean goes out and wins, and then Drake can follow up on that momentum, uh, I
Yeah.
was I was cooking. I was really in a good position, um, especially coming in as a 10 point dog.
Yeah, that was their path to victory at national duels. They won 3 out of the first 4. Peterson won, Drake won, Ryder Block won, and Vega beat Bailey. So Iowa needs those lightweights to do its thing there. So that's 133. Then 141. No Nasir Bailey in the probables. I don't know if that's just gamesmanship, but it looks like we're gonna get Sergio Vega versus Cal Peterson. Sergio has not given up a takedown this year. I think even if Nasir was there, I think it's Vega. Without Nasir, I think this could be bonus territory for Vega.
Yeah, I didn't think Kale looked very good last weekend. Now maybe that's just a one match blip. I don't know, or a weekend blip, because Kale's not been a world beater, but he's a solid kid, and I don't know. If they're gonna play it close to the vest with Angelo, they're probably gonna play it close to the vest with Nasir. Um, he too during the Michigan match was jumping around and bouncing around, but that's not too surprising or not too telling because his injury is not a lower body injury; it's hand.
Yeah.
Um,
Hot dog water said
so
I said Troy instead of Jax one of those times. Apologies for
yeah,
that.
no, well, I don't even know why they interrupted with that stuff because they knew what you meant. Um, anyway,
So you still think it's gonna be Nasir in the postseason?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
100%. I mean, that's what I think. I don't just know inside information. You know, yeah, I think it's a no brainer, really.
Yeah. All right, so we both got Vega over Peterson, and then we go to if Swiderski's healthy in there, we get Ryder Block, Casey Swiderski, and Ryder Block has now lost 5 of his last 8 matches.
Yeah, I don't know what Ryder. He's looked lethargic, and part of me wonders, I always like I nerd out on this stuff, obviously, and I think about the future a lot for a lot of teams' lineups. And one thing I look at their performances, and I look at the. It would not surprise me if next year Jordan Williams and Block flipped, and Jordan was back at 49, and Block was at 57. I say that because Block is big and he's looked lethargic. He's looked limited in especially in third periods lately. Now there were a couple bouts where he got a third period or a late match takedown. So I can't say he's uniformly or universally been sluggish in the third. I think he got the pin, which was huge against Lamer. That was late second, early third. Um, I think he got a big takedown against who did he got another third period big takedown against somebody else to win the match. There was another third period. He was in a match with somebody really good, and it was Van Ness. It was Van Ness. It was third period, and the score was 5-4.
That's right. And then Vanessa
And
opened it up.
no, he didn't open it up. What happened was
Well, it was
it was
13-4.
third period five.
Yeah. I mean, the score. Open the score up.
It was third period 5-4. It was like body lock type of situation. And so my overall point is I'm not saying that Ryder Block has been sluggish in the third all year. I'm saying lately he hasn't had that same sort of output. I wonder if it's the size.
Yeah. This will be interesting, too, because we've not seen Swiderski in 2 or 3 weeks now. I don't think we've seen him since that weekend he wrestled February 1st. He wrestled Jacob Frost. We haven't seen him since that match. So I also don't know
Really?
if we're going to see Swiderski. I don't know if Oklahoma State's put out probables. But it is worth noting that we have not seen Swiderski since the first.
Yeah, yeah. That's interesting. I did not even realize he's been out that long. Um, give me. I don't know. I don't know. What happened in the What happened in the duel?
National duels. Block beat Swiderski.
Block beat Swiderski 5-3. Give me.
If Swiderski's back, give me Swiderski.
Give me Block.
I'm going to go Swiderski if Swiderski's back.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
don't hate it.
I
don't
just
hate
Block losing 5 of his last 8 in Stillwater. I'll go Swiderski if they put out.
I'd kind of be with you if I knew Swiderski was available and healthy.
Yeah, no, I get it. All right.
Uh,
And then 157, we're going to get number 14, Jordan Williams versus number 5, Landon Robideau. All signs point to Robideau dealing with some kind of injury. You know, he hasn't been as offensive as he was earlier in the season. There's whispers.
He ankle against somebody.
Yeah, and he just hasn't been like able to get to his offense, but he's been out there. He's been going. And still, like, I say he hasn't looked the same. Just if you're watching him wrestle in the eyeball test, you see it. But he still, his only loss in the year was that overtime loss to Antrell. And he's looked good. So I'm going to pick him to get the win here, but it's definitely worth keeping an eye on his ankle and how he's looking.
Yeah, and Jordan Williams can wrestle with just about anybody. He's one of those guys that You can get an almost takedown on him, and he worms his way out of it, and then uh, he does that once or twice. He can stay with anybody. Um, I'm going to take Robideau here
I,
too.
I I'm also
I think that
probably a little jaded from. I know he's wrestled tough opponents, but he's also lost Jordan Williams 4 straight now. And
mm-hmm.
they weren't scrubs. He lost to PJ Duke, Antrell Taylor, Charlie Millard, and Cam Catcherbone. 4 absolute
Mm-hmm.
studs. But at this point,
Yeah.
he's one loss away now from being 500 on the year. Um, so, I mean, he is set up for a nice bounce back win here if he can get this done. But I think it's going to be.
I mean, here's the thing for me is that even after even after Robideau rolled his ankle, he's beaten he's beaten Vinny Zerban. He beat T. Travis, Vinny Zerban, Ethan Miller, and I know those guys aren't. They're not David Carr. They're not Kale Sanderson, right? But they're solid guys,
Mhm.
and so either Robideau's ankle is improving and okay, or he's dealt with it enough to understand what he can and cannot do with it. Give me Robideau.
Yeah, same. All right, and then we have what for me is the match of the night. We have number 4 Michael Caliendo versus number 2 D Lockett with all the postseason implications here. Not only are we getting a rematch from National Duels, which was 7-3D, but man, this is going to be a huge match, not only for the duel, for the postseason, a 2 versus a 4 match of the night here. What's your takes?
Here's my thing, and Crystal Ball reflected it. Um, National Duels was early in the season, and there was a little bit of controversy there, and I thought great win for D, great win for D. I'll take Caliendo going forward. I'll take Caliendo going forward regardless, even though he lost. Um, I don't know. To me, Caliendo's match against Blaze changed that. Uh, and D's consistent, just win baby kind of track record. I mean,
Yeah.
There's been times where D's in close matches and he just knows how to win, whether it's Caliendo or I mean, even the match with like LJ Araju, right? He doesn't score. He doesn't score. It goes into overtime, and he just figures it out. And I know LJ's not um, a Caliendo, but sometimes you are going to find yourself in tight matches against guys you were not expected to be in tight matches with. I mean, we see it all the time where a guy on a guy on a lower tier beats a guy on a higher tier, and you're like, yeah, that's weird. There isn't an art and a track like to just figuring it out, even when you're in danger. And D does that every single time.
Yeah. I think
And on the other hand, Caliendo, and maybe it's just one bad match or whatever. I didn't think that Caliendo, like, was Caliendo even close to scoring at all, like ever against
Blaze, no. And I think it's, I didn't think I'd be this. I think anything can happen in this match, but I didn't think I'd be this confident at this point in the season picking D. But when D has not given up a takedown, what? Chat gets you again?
Yeah. Is it hard to take D? Question. Why?
D has not been
Show them
taken
shit.
down this year, and Caliendo quietly has 3 losses on the year. So I think you got to go D. Again, he hasn't given up a takedown this year. He has the 2 takedown to no takedown win against Caliendo earlier in the season. Now, could I see Caliendo with a nice rebound here after losing to Blaze 7-4 last week? Absolutely. But I like D and Stillwater to get it done here.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. And again, you're splitting hairs. You're being like a mad scientist and trying to figure out who you're picking in this match, and you're coming up with an answer. The reality is, if Caliendo goes out and wins 2 takedowns to 0, absolutely no one's surprised.
D has given up 1
Right?
takedown to Downey. That's right. He did give up a takedown to Ryder Downey. Yeah, no, that wouldn't surprise me at all. Caliendo's a dog. I mean, he's been right there.
Earlier this year, I called him the best number 2 in the country. So like that's how much I think of Caliendo. But
Who do you think's the best number 2 in the country right now? That's a tough question.
I'm probably okay. Number twos right now are Bruzakis. Somebody at
Blaze,
33 who's in a mosh.
Blaze,
Yeah,
Vega.
Blaze is a tough one. Off the top of my head, first of all, Rocky Elam is a very great number 2.
Yeah, listen to these number 2s. Buzakis 13-1 has only lost to Lilladal. Marcus Blaze 18-0 on the year. Sergio Vega 14-0 on the year. Jackson Joy 21-0 on the year. Meyer Shapiro 12-0 on the year. D. Lockett 12-0 on the year. Simon Ruiz 12-0 on the year. By the way, all these 12-0 nothing, 12 matches in mid-February, end of February is bananas. 184 Angelo Ferrari, 197 Rocky Elam, 285 Isaac Trumbull. An incredible slate of number 2s.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I would probably say Rocky, but yeah, you get it. So Caliendo's, but I'm gonna go D here.
Yep. All right. Patrick Kennedy, Alex Facundo, 3 versus 7. Kennedy is 2-0 on Facundo. Both are overtime wins. Can Facundo win this one and narrow the series down to 2-1?
I'm trying to figure out how we have the score. I got. I guess it's overwhelmingly at this point. It's overwhelmingly. I had 2 Iowa wins so far. I had Dean and I had Block. Kennedy, Facundo, give me Kennedy.
Yep.
Like I think Kennedy's due for a win. I think Facundo like damn near he probably should have lost to Sergio Desianti. And Facundo just has a really difficult time taking any of the top guys down. He can get the legs. He has a hard time finishing. Number one. Number two, what does Kennedy struggle with? He struggles with scrambling. Facundo don't scramble. Not like some of these other guys. So I mean, now if you're telling me Kennedy gets down a leg and Facundo far ankle defense and maybe leg pass and gets a takedown, I'm not saying my mind is blown by that. I'm just saying I don't think that Facundo does that kind of stuff enough. I don't think that's why I would pick him. I don't know. I think Kennedy gets it done.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And then 184. Now, no Angelo Ferrari. So it looks like it's gonna be Gabe Arnold. David Taylor did say we could see Zach Ryder and Swiderski both back in the lineup. He has not ruled either out, so we may see Zach Ryder. Otherwise, it's going to be Dops. If it stops, give me Arnold. What do you make of this match if we do get Arnold and Ryder?
Uh, if so, I think they're very incredibly similar, and Zach. Obviously, that injury was significant enough. That injury was significant enough that I bet he missed time. Like not just not just in duels. I guarantee you, he couldn't even practice for a while.
Yeah.
Um, so all things like they're pretty freaking even. Give me the guy who's been practicing hard and totally healthy. I'll take Arnold.
Yeah.
Man, that I got that. So that's four.
You got it
I got
4-4. Iowa, Oklahoma State. All right, and then we see Brody Sampson versus Cody Merrill. I think this is obviously Cody Merrill here. I don't think there's much. I don't think we see Gabe bump up. I don't think that. And then heavyweight, we got an 8 versus a 9. Connor Doucette versus Ben Keeter. Very interesting. Like, this is, again, we talked about earlier when you had Dean and Troy, like all-American type match. Here you go again. If this was NCAA's winner, AA's loser doesn't, it's going to be a very interesting match. Ben won 5-1 2 years ago. And I think 2 years ago, that seemed like a different Ben Keeter. That seemed like a different Connor Doucette. What do you make about the matchup now? We did not see this one at National Duels either. Keeter was still recovering from his hip surgery. He was just getting back into the swing of things. Iowa afforded they could afford to forfeit there. So they forfeited. We did not see this. What do you make?
I just don't think Ben's healthy.
Yeah.
I think he's really limited. I think he's sort of going out on his shield for Iowa. I think he's just at this point, and this is just eyeball test. I did have a couple people say that Ben's not healthy. Like just said, Ben's not right. Ben's not healthy.
Yeah.
Now, to what extent, I really don't know. But Ben looks to me like he's trying to survive and just trying to keep it close and help out his team, because it doesn't look like he's really trying to win situations. And so I think Doucette's good enough to beat a limited Ben Keeter.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a pretty good analysis. I think it's going to be Connor as well. He's looked good here. So you got Oklahoma State pretty soundly. I mean, you kind of gave the matchups that Iowa could win to Iowa, with the exception of like Drake can definitely beat Jax. The rest of
I didn't take.
Well, I guess Caliendo.
I didn't take Caliendo.
Yeah.
No, I did take Dean, which is a toss up. I did take Ryder Block, which is sort of a toss up. I did take Gabe Arnold, which is a weird. And ultimately, like, I could see those happening. I don't know. I think the pick here for the duel is Okie State. I think that they have more possibilities. I think for Iowa, it has to kind of break right. I see a path to Iowa winning this duel. But it got to be perfect. It got to almost be damn near perfect.
I agree. I think there's a reason that Oklahoma State is 9.5 point favorites here.
Yeah. The mayor asked a question. Willie, is this the best group of true and redshirt freshmen we've ever seen this year? And I am going to say absolutely. And it's, not to pimp my own stuff, but it's a reason you should follow my recruiting stuff, my recruiting rankings, my my recruiting class rankings, the big boards, and even trickling down into the big boards of sophomores and juniors because uh, these kids are coming in more prepared than ever.
And they're letting it fly. I mean, they
with immediate impact, and so it's a real just the way I say about junior high rankings. Junior high rankings let me know that they better prepare me, they better inform me to who the next group of great high schoolers are. And if you're a college wrestling fan and you're a junkie, you almost need to know. You need to follow closely the juniors and seniors because they're coming in as impactful as ever. And it's not hyperbole to say that this is the best group of freshmen ever.
yeah. Yeah.
There was a time when Dustin Schlater won a title as a freshman and Brett Metcalf won a title as a true sophomore because he couldn't wrestle his freshman year. That was a really good group of young guys or freshmen. And there's been great crops over there, but not like this. Not like this.
Agreed.
I mean, hell, there's 3 national title true freshman contenders on Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State has Jax, Vega, and D. Vega and D are both ranked number 2 in the nation and undefeated.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
How many true freshman national champs do you think we see this year?
I mean, and look, like, even Josh Barr is only a sophomore. The nation's really young. You know, one of the crazy things is that we're talking about Penn State potentially hitting a scoring record. They lose one guy.
They're going to even have a better team next year. It's crazy.
One guy. I know. I won't go as far as to say it'll be a better team next year, but
well, let me tell you this lineup because Zach Sako posted last night. Here's what next year's Penn State lineup could look like next year. You tell me just based on this if you think they end up with a better team. Lillidahl 25, Blaze at 33, Ono 41, Van Ness 49, Kasich 57, Duke 65, Messenbrink 74, Rocco 84, Barr 97, Cole heavyweight.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to be the lineup, but that's good.
Yeah, they've definitely. We're not going to know the lineup until next November, or November. But crazy.
Well, let me see. Let me check out Intermat rankings. Right. Okay, so the number 1 in the country is a sophomore at 25. At 33, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the top 7. 5 of the top 7 are freshmen. 5 of the top 7 are freshmen. 41's old, with the exception of.
I wish that was.
Stanich is a sophomore, but so you got Vega and Stanich. 2 of the top 5 are underclassmen. 149. 149 is not good, but you do have Joy as the number 2, and he's a freshman. 57. 57, you have PJ Duke and Landon Robideau. Both true freshmen. Both lost nail biters to the reigning national champ. Right? Incredible. And there was a ton of sophomores too. Cannon, Larkin, Waters, Webster. So the country is pretty young, is what I'm getting at. The
Yeah.
entire country. Lockett, number 2, Araju, number 7, both freshmen at 65. 74, Ruiz, Minto, Schubert, 3 of the top 8 sophomores. 184, your number one's a sophomore. Look at, and 184 is super young.
I know.
1 sophomore, 2 freshmen, 3 freshmen, 4 sophomore, 7 freshmen. So it's a really young country. Yep. What else?
Why don't you give us the rundown? What else this weekend?
It's a slow final weekend. There's not a whole heck of a lot otherwise. Tonight, Bloomsburg, Mercyhurst, Edinburgh, George Mason, Gardner Webb, Lock Haven, Kent State. It's a EWL kind of night. Ryder, Penn, Bloomsburg, Edinburgh. Tomorrow, Campbell, Davidson, Purdue, Indiana, Central Michigan, Michigan State, Cornell at NC State. Looking at Ryan, Jack, Vince Cornella, Jackson, Joy, Biskins.
That's a good one.
Maddie Singleton, Simon Ruiz. Stanford, North Carolina, Princeton, Penn State, Virginia, Pittsburgh, Duke at Tech. Army Navy tomorrow night. Love that one. Saturday, West Virginia, Lock Haven, Lehigh, Arizona State, Caleb Larkin, Logan Rosinski, Brignola, and Nico Ruiz. Nebraska is at Utah Valley. Sunday, Bucknell at Columbia, Cornell at Duke. So Cornell doing NC State and Duke. Michigan at Central Michigan, Wisconsin at Northern Iowa, out of conference finale for both those teams. Missouri at Iowa State. That's a good one. Steed Gatan, Teague Travis, and Vinny Zerbin. Jacob, we'll see who we get. Jacob Frost, Edmond, maybe. North Dakota State, South Dakota State, Bucknell, Bloomsburg, Iowa, at Oklahoma State, which we went over. And that's it, guys. That's it for the dual season. That's it for the regular season.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? And then we're already next week talking what do seeds look like for Big 10s, Big 12s.
Yep.
Crazy. Willie's traveling to Arizona next week.
I can't wait. I can't wait to dig in the seeds. I love doing Big 10, Big 12 seeds, and not even doing them, but thinking about them, and then when they come out, and yeah, it's a fun time of year.
Amen. All right, well that's a show, a short one with a short weekend ahead. Willie, you got anything coming out of Iowa for the Iowa State tournament?
No, how about this? Wait, let me check my phone. Let me see something real quick. It's the funniest thing.
Tell us the funniest thing.
Can you put something on camera right now? Can you put something on the screen if I send it to you?
Yeah.
All right. Put this picture on the screen. And I'll tell you a story behind it.
All right, Willie's. There you go.
All right, so this is a pair of Don Bosco, Iowa wrestling moms, okay? So the story behind this is Don Bosco is historically a very good program in Iowa. And it's a little sort of dinky school. And, kids, I don't want to say transfer in there because most of them live right around the area, but they they choose to go to Don Bosco. And so they've won the last 3 state tournaments. They've won the last 3 dual state tournaments, and they're going to win it this year. Or the last 4 dual state tournaments. And they're going to win it this year. So they're going to go 4 for 4 in the last 4. And, oh, by the way, Dawson Youngblood. So on the right in that picture is Mandy Youngblood. That's Dawson Youngblood's mom. Dawson Youngblood going to Iowa. And Dawson Youngblood, so I think this might be, I don't want to jinx it, but I'm pretty sure Dawson Youngblood is going to be the first wrestler in Iowa history to win 4 state team championships in duels, 4 state team championships in the individual state tournament, and 4 individual titles. 4 for 4 across the board. But the point of this is they get criticized. The point of this T-shirt is they get criticized for transfers or move-ins. And on the back of this shirt, they put a QR code. And if you click on the QR code, it sends you to the registration page to register at Don Bosco.
Elite level trolling.
Elite level trolling.
Elite level trolling. All right, Willie. Anything
All right,
else?
guys.
Go enjoy the Iowa State tournament. You got what? 1 round a day? Quarters today, semis tomorrow, finals Friday.
Quarters for AAA today. Yeah, quarters all day. But I think 1A might have 2. 1A. No, 1A and 2A are just getting started.
Got it. Just 3A quarters today, semis tomorrow, finals Friday, Saturday.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right, that's the show. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll be back with our final regular season recap next week. Maybe a live watch along Sunday. I know we've been teasing it. We're trying to figure out with Willie's travel. If Willie,
hey guys, I think we're really going to do it this week. We've been talking shit and not doing it, but I think we might do our first ever watch along Iowa, Oklahoma State. We're going to do it. We're definitely going to do it. Contingent upon
Willie's travel.
Me not. If I get back in time, I'm supposed to be back in time. Supposed to be back at 2:00. The duel is until 6. I should be fine. As long as I don't have any flight delays, I'm going to do a live watch-along party. Sunday night, Iowa, Oklahoma State. Go Bills.
Go Bills.